Hello, dear students. Today in this lecture, we are going to discuss about the purifications of water. In the previous lecture, we have discussed about the basic techniques used in the water purification. Now, what are the methods that are used for the water purifications? In the previous lecture, we have discussed the sedimentation, fluctuations. In this lecture, we will discuss about the filtration, snow sand filter, rapid sand filter, and chlorination. Now, if we talk about the filtration, so filtration is the process that put final spark in the water. It remove all the it remove all the remaining suspended particle from water after the sedimentation. It means that after the sedimentation, the water is pumped through the sand filter. And now, what are the sand filter? We are going to discuss. There are two types of sand filter. One is called slow sand filter, and the other is called rapid sand filter. Now, what is slow sand filter? The sand filter in which the process of filtration is slow and take very long time for completion, sometime may days. This is known as slow sand filter. Now, what is the structure of slow sand filter? Actually, slow sand filter is a large size tank of 1 or 2 acres. In the bottom of the tank is a network of pipes that collect and transport the water after filtration. You look at this. Here I have drawn the structure of slow sand filter. The slow sand filter is large in size, actually 2 acres, and there is a network of pipes. These are the network of pipes, and these network of pipe function is to collect and transport the water after filtration. Now over the drain pipe are sand layer and gravel. Now the around these pipe there is layer of gravel and sand. That starting where the coarse gravel with an average size of 5 centimeter, they have 5 centimeter in size, to fine sand with an average size of 0.25 to 0.35. Now what we will do, the water to be filtered is poured on the surface of the filter bed. If you want to filter the water, you pour the water on this filter bed, the surface of the filter bed, where it is allowed to trickle slowly the sand particles. They trickle through the sand particle. The water passes very slowly through the layer of the sand and the gravel, so it is known as sand filter. This is the layer of the sand and this is the gravel. They actually, when you want to filter the water, you passes through the gravels and the sand. Now the question arises that how does water in slow sand filter? The process of filtration in slow sand filter take very long time for completion. During filtration, this is the raw water, when you pass the raw water into this slow sand filter, the process of filtration is very slow. During the filtration, the bacteria cells settle down on the surface of each grain of sand. Now, when you filter the water, the bacterial cells they trickle. These are bacterial cells, and these bacterial cells, they uh, uh, they attach, they settle down on the surface of each grain of sand. Now, these bacteria, majority of which are aerobic and facultative anaerobe, actually they form a slimy, gelatinous thin layer, and this is called Schmutz layer. Now, this is Schmutz layer. What is Schmutz layer? During solution filter, the bacteria settle down on the surface of each grain of sand and they form a gelatinous thin layer. This is called Schmutz layer. Now, actually, these Schmutz layer contain bacteria, and beside bacteria, they have the algae and protozoal cells. Now, the smudged layer occupy all the space between the sand grain. Suppose this is sand grain and this is the smudged layer. This smudged layer they actually they form this layer and the overall sands. What now it can do? Actually, they make the filter bed functionally more effective. Now, during filtration, the chemical complexes in the water are filtered and retained on the slimy layer, where millions of microbial cells attack them and cause their complete reduction. So, the important function of the smudged layer is that it contains bacteria. When there is chemical in the water, these bacteria attack on the chemicals and they do complete reduction. When efficiently functional, the sluice and filter yield about 5 million gallons of water per acre per day. Now, what are the advantages? Actually, they are simple to construct. Cost of construction is cheaper than that of the represent filter. Now, it does not need chemical coagulation of water prior to filtering. Unlike rapid sand filters, only sedimentation is sufficient. Does not need highly skilled operators. Now the physical, chemical and bacteriological quality of filter water is very high. Slow sand filter have been shown to reduce the total bacterial content by 99.9%, and especially you should remember E. coli 99.90%. Now, what are the disadvantages of slow sand filter? You know that smudge thick layer actually they become thick, and what they do they prevent the or they reduce the process of filtration. Now, to remove this layer for filtration process, cleaning machine are required, so it is time consuming. It occupy large area. They sluice and filter have slow rate of filtration. They need regular scraping of sand bed. Sand bed they have a lot of particle accumulated. Now what they do to remove this particle? To remove this particle, what you can do, you should need scraping. So it is time consuming too. In recent biological or slow sand filter are mistakenly considered old fashioned. It failed to filter the turbid water. Why? Because it clogged the filter bed. What they do, they clog. There is cluster of particle accumulated, and then filtration is very difficult. Now, rapid sand filter it work on the same principles as that of slow sand filter. When you want to filter the water, what you do, you uh, pour the water, trickle the water on these, and these water then what they do, they passes through the sand and that passes through the gravel. But there are two differences you should remember between rapid sand filter and slow sand filter. Now the rapid sand filter, actually there is small area is required to construct the filter bed, and and the second difference is that in the rapid sand filter there is no formation of smudge layer. You should note that two differences. They require small area and smudge layer is not formed. Now if we talk about the rate of filtration, rapid sand filter is much greater than slow sand filter. It can filter over 200 million gallons per day per acre of filter area. By rapid filtration, 90 to 95% bacteria are removed. Filter must be cleaned. This is done by reversing the flow of water and agitating the upper layer of the sand. What you should note, suppose if they have sand, okay, you agitate it by mixing, okay. So reversing the water, we can increase efficiency. In some cases, air is now. In some cases, what we do, we actually do irrigation. Irrigation means that we pour the filter from the bottom to the top. In some cases, by air. Advantage is they require small area. It filter extremely large quantity of water in much short time and thus suits for large production. Smart zinc layer is not pumped, so not clogged and less expensive in maintenance. Now the next topic after the filtration we do the chlorination. What is chlorination? Chlorination is actually the process of mixing gaseous chlorine with drinking water in order to kill the non-spore microbe, particularly pathogenic bacteria which survive in the filtration. Chlorination is just suppose if this is water and we add the chlorine gas to the water. This process is known as chlorination. The purpose of chlorination is to kill the non-sporing microbe, pathogenic microbe which survive in the filtration. This process not remove all the microorganism, you should note it, but reduce the microbial population to safe level. Chlorination have saved hundred thousands of lives by preventing transmission of waterborne diseases such as typhoid and cholera. Now, chlorine is popular economical disinfectant all over the world for water purification. It kills the microbe that cause human disease. It also eliminates false odors and tests. It is a powerful oxidizing agent that does not affect the taste, color, odor of the water. Now, what are the method of chlorination? There are three methods of chlorination. First is simple chlorination. Standard effective amount of chlorine is added in water. It is added from cylinder that are connected with regulating instrument. The antimicrobial action of chlorine depends on the formation of hypochlorous acid. When chlorine reacts with water, it forms HCl, hypochloric acid. Now this hypochloric acid is unstable compound and undergo very frequently polar change. Now they release the nascent oxygen. Now the nascent oxygen is very strong oxidizing agent and it can interact with several cellular components including protein, denature enzyme and thus block the metabolic activity of the organism. So in simple we add chlorine, chlorine convert to hypochloric acid, hypochloric acid release nascent oxygen and this nascent oxygen they kill the microorganism by different ways. Now another is chloramines. Actually, what is chloramine? It is the mixture of ammonia and chlorine. It is used for disinfectant water. They are more stable than chlorine. When added to the water, actually undergo hydrolysis, producing hypochloric acid HOCl and convert to nascent and this convert to nascent oxygen and HCl. Now this nascent oxygen they do the killing of bacteria by various mechanism. So it is chloramine. The third method of chlorination is superchlorination. What it do? It involves the addition of much larger dose of chlorine than with simple chlorination. So this is the end of the water purification. In the next lecture, we discuss the coliform.